But from ideation to distribution, we're also finding that marketers are using over 7 different tools to create one different post. And so again, our biggest aspect is just streamlining the process for them.
Hello and welcome to the Biz Dev Podcast, the podcast about developing your business. I'm your host today, Gary Voigt. Our typical host, David, is not here with us. I am joined by my co-host today,
Christy Pronto,
who is the head of our marketing department and a much better guest than David, Christy Pronto.
Always. Hello.
And more importantly than her, we're joined by our guest, Jack Fleming. Jack is the founder of Phrayz, a software to help marketing agency owners who handle accounts across multiple industries create expert-like content. And we're going to let Jack tell us all about Phrayz in just a minute. But first, I got a few weird questions to break the ice and get the conversation go.
Ooh, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. I'm going to pose these questions to both you and Christy.
Oh, dear.
So first, we'll start with you, Jack.
Oh, we got to go ladies
if you
first.
We're going to relax,
relax
and unwind. If you're going to relax and unwind, do you prefer like a movie night at home, just chilling, or do you want to go to a concert or hang out with some friends?
I'm very extroverted, so I tend to get energy from hanging out with people. I tend to not relax and rewind too much. I would say go to the beach, but that wasn't an option. So I'd just say go to a concert with friends.
All right. Christy?
The polar opposite of Jack, quite honestly. Yeah, absolutely.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, I too don't really know what relaxing is, but if I were to imagine it, it would be a comfort sweatsuit and probably like a mandarin orange and PBS. So it's like wild nights.
See, I would love to go to a concert with friends, but I'll probably end up staying home on the couch.
Yeah, you're the mix.
All right. So if it comes to snacking and brain food, Jack, do you prefer salty snacks or sweet snacks?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to go let's go sweet, because I feel like with salty, you'll also have to get a drink with it to be frugal. Let's go sweet. So I've been over a big Reese's kick lately. I used to be a big Milky Way Midnight fan with the dark chocolate and the nougat.
Dark chocolate, yeah.
Yeah, those are actually pretty good. Yeah, salty and sweet connected. The Reese's got the peanut butter and the chocolate. That's pretty good.
That's true.
Yeah, I would say probably sweet. Like, absolutely. My go-tos right now have been like Sour Patch Kids, which are absolutely horrific for you. But if I were to go Jack's route and do like a candy bar, Paydays are my favorite, and that is salty and
Payday.
sweet. So it's old. Everything about me is like very old.
Something that's not chocolate that's really good.
Did you buy that at the 5 and Dime next to the barber shop for a nickel?
Yeah, 17 years ago in a Christmas stocking.
And lastly, if you had to give up one or the other for a month, would you give up streaming TV or social media?
It's got to be streaming TV because I do marketing full time, so I have to be on social media. That would be like giving up business for a month. I don't actually.
Okay, let's skip professional use. Let's just think personal use.
Ooh. I actually did give up streaming for a bit because of the YouTube situation with ESPN. And so I think I can get away with it and go watch sports somewhere else. So I'm going to still stick with my guns here and say I want to give up that and stay with social media.
Now, if I give my answer now, I just sound silly. But yeah, no, I might be the opposite of that. Definitely can't give up social media only because I'm a marketing director. But personally speaking, yeah, I guess
Where would podcasts fall into that?
So predominantly I listen to podcasts all day, every day. Like that is my number one.
I guess that would be
modality.
Streaming media, but not TV. So that counts. You wouldn't have to give up podcasts.
I could never give podcasts up. I don't know how I would function in life if I didn't have like murder podcasts 24/7.
I was going to say sports. Giving up sports is real tough, especially now with all the basketball going on in the state.
Yeah, March Madness.
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about? F1 just started. That's the most important sport right now.
Oh my God.
And NASCAR too. So I have clients in the NASCAR space, so I have to go film NASCAR occasionally too. So I'll be at Darlington and Rockingham very soon.
See, there you go.
All right. We should probably get back to the actual business at hand
on
the Biz Dev podcast. So, Jack, why don't you just give us the high view of what Phrayz does and who you do it for?
Yeah, so We started Phrayz about 8 months ago, so it's still really new, but really it's a industry intelligence tool. We're aggregating specific industry information and then transforming it into marketing material that we're finding that marketers can use, but also sales pros and entrepreneurs as well. So we found we're like an AI company that hates AI. Weird, but there's a lot of not bad things, but there's a lot of steps that go into utilizing AI to the best of your ability. Pages of prompting. You have to keep using it because we all know V1 of AI can be terrible. It'll give you like 25 fingers or something like that. It can hallucinate and it's going to actually give you what you want to hear. And so that's not necessarily the best case for a lot of the situations that people need to use general LLMs for. And so we wanted to put up those necessary guardrails for it and help streamline the research process that agencies and CMOs and everyone does.
Yeah, I can see AI being valuable in, like you said, the research, the planning, the content strategy, the analytics of targeting what your client is looking for, what the patterns and habits of their customers are and stuff like that. But when it does come to actually generating content without like really specific guardrails, yeah, I think that's something that needs to be like really, you really got to hold the hand of whether it's a prompt engine that's doing it or if it's going to be something from Midjourney mixed with something from OpenAI or anything like that. Yeah, the content generation part itself is still a little bit lacking.
And that's the goal, though, is the combination of tools, right? As we're building a software company, it's like we're trying to save marketers time. We're finding that marketers are spending anywhere from 8 to too many hours per week doing content research. And that's really just trying to stay on top of news because the marketing industry changes by the second, as Christy and I know, but also the industries that we serve too, whether it's in IT, cybersecurity, hospitality, construction, whatever it may be. There's just things going on. And a lot of those general LLMs only learn up into a certain point. And so we're trying to combine the efforts that marketers use all into one. So it's reading emails, reading news, scrolling social media. And we're starting to analyze videos here soon and maybe taking in like LinkedIn articles and Substack, Medium too. But just aggregating all of that industry specific info and then starting the development process. We're not doing it fully quite yet. We're not there, but just starting that process. We always want the human in the loop.
Yeah, I think it's really when the AI was all starting to really burst and come out for the marketing side of things. What was this, a few years ago? It was internally, it was like, okay, do we use this? Do we not? And of course, I'm looking into it for my own personal self and seeing how I can utilize it in my processes. And I have to say, what I felt like it ended up being good for is cutting that time a bit in the research, but like anytime in creating content, especially for custom software and design, which is what we're in, you're exactly right. It was making sure not only what I'm stating in this content or in this playbook is accurate and up to date, but then citing things appropriately and really having a voice with it all. It was taking me about 8 hours for one piece of content to really not only research it, but come up with an outline that was actually thoughtful. And now with AI and things like yourself and companies like yourself, it has cut my time drastically. I think full time from idea to actually being able to post or have a piece of content is now like 3 to 5 hours. So it has really lowered that threshold for me being able to do that. But a product like Phrayz, which I really love the concept of, is it still took a lot for me to get there because exactly what you're saying is I almost had to train, or you did have to train it on, this doesn't sound quite right factually even. Are you sure? And then now I'm counter checking the facts to make sure. And there is no time for that. So having a tool like yourself, which they can trust and go into and say, look, I'm in healthcare, I'm in finance, I'm in whatever niche field that they're in, and they can trust you, go to you and get that news synthesized and then decide what to do with that news. I think that's, as someone in the field utilizing things like that's wildly helpful.
Yes,
Now, Jack,
we're finding that a problem is the time saving aspect, but also too, it's just the quality of content.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of content slop out there. There's over 20 million content posts going out on each platform about per day. And so with the fact that when someone's scrolling, you have literally 1 second to grab someone's attention and hook them in,
Yeah.
like your content has to be good. So it
Yeah.
has to relate to your target consumer, or it has to be like super top level, or ideally more middle of the funnel. But from ideation to distribution, we're also finding that marketers are using over 7 different tools to
Yeah.
create one different post. And so again, our biggest aspect is just streamlining the process for them. But
Yeah. Funnily enough, just before we started recording, Christy and I were talking about how oversaturated like marketing and sales has become with just AI slop generated content. And it's more of pushing consumers away quicker than it is pulling them in. So you're right. You have to strike that balance and hit the right spot at the right time with the right message.
Ask
And
you
speaking of that,
sorry, Gary. Gary's going to take my thought out of my head. I know he's going to.
no, I was just going to say Phrayz is a newer company and a newer tool that you built, but you built it off the experience you had from marketing already. So you're
Yes.
also the founder of a marketing agency. And
yeah, so we initially built it internally to support my agency. The story behind that is I called in favors to be in a sales meeting with a local distillery. And as I was rambling about my content and the results that we've created, the founder stops me and goes, "How do you know the intricacies of the alcohol industry? There are a lot of rules, regulations, notes associated with it." And as a good founder and sales guy, of course, I yes a little bit. But despite maybe drinking a beer or two on the weekends, I just don't know much about it. And so I said, "Oh yeah, we have a proprietary tool that helps us stay up to date on all info." And a little white lie there, but it did get me thinking.
no, you're just putting it out into the universe.
Yeah,
for
and it
everyone
became a
to see.
reality. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then fast forward to one of our IT cybersecurity clients. I just didn't want to subscribe to 25 plus different newsletters about different hacks and things that were going on as a marketing agency. So I wanted a cumulative spot of one place to go that wasn't my email to see everything and just get the ball rolling.
So how does that work for users if they sign up for you? So say, let's use Big Pixel as an example because it's just easiest. Say we're in, because we are, the software services vertical. So are we coming to you saying, or am I, as Christy, the marketing director, coming to you and saying, "Hey, I'm spending way too many time on all of these tools, reading all of these newsletters, educating myself so that I can make us sound educated"? Am I then coming to you and saying, "I need a package," and you're saying, "Okay, what's your vertical? What are those verticals touch? What does that look like? And then here's a package." And then when I go to my, let's say, portal for Phrayz, or when I log in, it's then customized to my particular needs? Or is it more of a generalized tool?
It's more, it's
Both.
a mix right now. So we initially created it as a custom inbox situation where you would have to, once you made a folder, you get an email address associated with that, and then you go in and resubscribe to things.
Yeah.
And then we created an ability for you to join other people's folders. So it's like a community aspect to it.
Yep.
But we're now developing it into us just managing all of the info that comes in. So there's less front end of account creation. And so you can just come in and click on the software industry folder, and we'll outline what information that's coming into that folder. Like our AI industry folder has about 140 different sources going through it per week.
And so then the
beer has
users
about
then
110.
going in there and picking that information, and then is it up to them to then craft the content, or is then social read they are creating the content for them based on what they chose, or is it like a mixture of both?
We automatically create summaries, blog outlines, infographic carousel outlines, video scripts, and we're working on ads too. So we automatically get that ball rolling a little bit, but it's not, again, full content creation. I don't trust it necessarily, but I do think down the road we do want to integrate with design tools because of the outlines that we're creating. Would be able to feed those design tools better. And so if we're automatically taking in the info, and we can add your brand details to it, brand customization, we do have that ability to add your URL, tone of voice, industry. When we're then adding that to the design aspect of things and put it into Netto Banana or whatever, it's going to be able to have all the necessary details that it needs to create better content too.
That makes sense.
But that's down the
It's
road.
crazy watching. It's crazy watching how fast AI is getting. I guess you could say better or just smarter or just more advanced in the content creation when it comes to graphics and video. There's certain levels of imagery that it does really well at. And if you can prompt it to make something just beautifully cinematic and gorgeous, but at the same time, that's 1 out of 100 shots.
Yeah.
A lot of times people without the experience and the knowledge to actually prompt these images and videos into existence, like you're not going to get the same quality. But that's just like any other design skill. Over time, you get better and the software gets better and better. Now, it is getting a little crazy to see how fast AI is implementing updates and changes to the software, and it's getting not just marginally better, it's improving almost like 1x, 2x every time. So I can see in the future image generation, video generation in the marketing and ad space almost being fully automated. And it's just, where in that world does the human kind of fade in and out when it comes to the consumer side?
Right.
Because while all the images can be great, all the videos can look perfect, when does it lose that actual touch to reach the consumer? And are you seeing any kind of drop off when it comes to not content that Phrayz is generating, but just AI generated content in marketing and sales as a whole?
Yeah, let's say everyone uses AI to create content right now. It's just leveling the playing field so everything looks the same, honestly. So it's a part of making more specific content to your ideal customer that just resonates with them. Like, you're automatically still, as a marketer, going to have to create content that's fitting a different demographic from the get. And so you can't just build a good product image and hope it fits the masses. You're still going to have to create different pieces of content to fit different dimensions and different demographics. So that's bare minimum. But I think what people see on AI, there's also this underlying concern that people have that it could also be fake. And so like deepfakes are a big concern. And I've already heard plenty of stories from the Colin and Samir show and from Kevin Leary and people and all the sharks. People are just ripping their stuff because there's all these videos out there about them. They're saying, oh, this Mark Cuban or whatever is endorsing this product, and when they're not actually doing that, right? And so there's automatically a concern, and I just don't think you get that as much with a blurry iPhone video of someone walking down the street. We're definitely not making that. But right now, our focus is more on the industry information aggregation side of things. Mm-hmm. But with the content side, it's just completely different. I wouldn't want to say it's getting out of hand, but it is. With there being 20 million posts per day on each platform, content has to stand out. And if AI is making it all level, it's not helping it stand out.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because I'm trying to pretend as if Christy was doing earlier, if I was a business owner or a startup, where I just wanted to find some way to market myself beyond my own capabilities. And I keep reading and hearing stories about, just use AI to do AI. It's simple. You don't even need to do it. There is an actual threshold to where that is a value or a hindrance. So when you use a product like yours, Phrayz, and you have a team that actually knows marketing, those tools in your hands is going to be far more effective for that person. So on a scale of the clients you have now or the clients you go after, is there a certain type of business that you're looking to work with? Is it small business and startups up to medium size? Or are you aiming for enterprise in the future, 100%, baby? But
definitely aiming that way. Our beachhead is definitely smaller marketing agencies. There are a lot of great full-scale go-to-market tools out there. We have some pretty big competition in space, like Copy AI, Jasper, Blaze. Mm-hmm. But again, we focus on doing one task very well. And they still have a good bit of prompting that needs to be done on the user side. There's a lot of onboarding that needs to happen. And that's just the biggest concern that I've seen. It's just, I want an easier system out there. But we're targeting smaller agencies right now because that's like my own. It's easier for me to relate with them and talk with them. We do have some pretty big agencies who have created accounts as well to become some of our beta users. But we're still learning. We're still doing feedback sessions and demos, and we're still doing everything we can just to get the name out there and still get great data from our users.
Big Pixel builds world-class custom software and amazing apps. Our team of pros puts passion into every one of our projects. Our design-infused development leans heavily on delivering a great experience for our clients and their clients. From startups to enterprises, we can help craft your ideas into real-world products that help your business do better business.
So you mentioned talking to startups and having a mentor and being involved in like the startup and entrepreneur space. I see here that you've also been a lead organizer for something called A Million Cups.
Oh yeah,
Do you
it's
want to tell us what that is?
1 Million Cups was started by the Young Marion Kauffman Foundation out of Kansas City, Missouri, and then it was started in an effort to support entrepreneurs and the communities that surround them. And so it's a weekly event that's every Wednesday at 9 a.m. here at UNCW Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And every week we have about 1 to 2 entrepreneurs, newer entrepreneurs, under 5 years old is typically what we look for. And they give a 6-minute presentation. It's not a pitch. So they just talk about themselves and what they're doing, where they're planning to go. And they get 20 minutes of Q&A. So it's a really great time for them to not only work on public speaking, which is a great skill for them to learn, but interact with the community, get questions, suggestions, and connections from the community. So it's really a rising tides, floats all boats effort.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a great way to be in community with other like-minded entrepreneurs. There's been some quotes that we've heard from entrepreneurs that 1 Million Cups helped me not to quit, because entrepreneurship is very hard. So being in community
We hear that,
with
yeah.
those people is very important. And so I've led this community for a little bit over 2 years now, but we have about 70 to 80 regular attendees now weekly. And so it's getting to be a pretty popular thing. We have people tuning in from Raleigh and across the state to our specific location as well. But Durham just started a community as well. They have one down in Myrtle Beach too. But it's a great stepping stone for not only like aspiring entrepreneurs or students or people moving to a new area, or just people starting to build something who aren't necessarily looking for investors or the growth stage side of things yet. It's a great first step for everyone.
You had said for doing it for 1 Million Cups, it's 5 years or less of a startup that they've been in. Have you heard any of the same, like in us doing this podcast, we hear a lot of the same like pain points or through lines of I struggled here, or this was a triumph. Was there any pain points that you were hearing over and over again, or things that the founders really needed help with or support with over and over again? What were some of those things, if you did?
It's typically the amount of customers that people have because they're so
Or
new.
don't have? Yeah.
Yes, that's usually the biggest need. I think marketing is one that we hear of a lot.
Yeah. Which
But
is
it just
what?
gets
What are their pain
hard with
points for?
startups.
Yeah.
It is hard because they can't afford my agency anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them like, hey, you have the time, you got to make content on your own. It's very difficult, but you have to do it.
What would be like your number one piece of advice for doing the content? I always try to think of that for myself. Okay, if I'm going to sit down and dedicate 5 hours of AI time or like creation or using these tools, like what is the most purposeful thing I can do with my 5 hours right now? What do you think that is for these businesses that could utilize their tools and put something out? What is that productivity look like?
I always like to connect it to something else that you love too. That's not necessarily business related, possibly.
Yeah.
For me, it could be CrossFit or going to church, or I have a few other interests as well. My
CrossFit.
LinkedIn is all over the place.
You're a church boy who goes to CrossFit.
Yeah, but I just want to make it as easy as possible.
Right.
And so I'm like, hey, it doesn't have to be on a DSLR camera. It can literally be the front side of your phone. Ideally, it's the back camera, but it could be like literally you walking and talking. Make sure to put captions on it and then just post it and try it. Like most people just get bogged down by the sheer amount of platforms out there and the whole
that was going to be my question.
Pre-production process, much less creating a 1080 by 1350 now dimension photo for Instagram.
Yep.
Or vertical reel or a LinkedIn header or whatever it may be. People get bogged down and just don't even start. And so I just say, just start somewhere and polish it as you go.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I just actually heard it's a videographer that I do follow because they also just give great advice about imagery in general. But they were saying like when they started, they were always hesitant to publish stuff of their own because it wasn't as professional as the stuff they were doing for clients. So they would shoot themselves in the foot and just not put anything out there. But over the years, you've seen like that level has gone up so much that the scrappier the video is, the more homemade it looks, the more personal and the more engaging it is. It's the more authentic it seems, the better it does now. So they'll not like less polished on purpose, but just when it comes to that being a barrier for someone saying, well, my video doesn't look as good as this guy's or the company that I really want to be like, their stuff, they have professional voiceovers and animations. I don't have any of that, so why bother? Actually, you'll probably end up doing better than them if you have an engaging and heartfelt human-to-human connection and a good story to tell.
And
It's going to be your competitive moat.
Yes.
It's going to be your competitive moat when everyone's making things with AI because it can produce things quickly.
Yeah, differentiate
your energy
yourself.
and your personal brand is your competitive moat.
Now, have you seen with all the platforms that are out there, and I'm sure there's different ways to target the algorithms for these different platforms that reach certain customers, but have you seen any, is there still like the major ones? I know Google Ads used to be the thing, then it was Facebook, then it was Instagram, then it was TikTok. Now it's like a combination of everything, but is there one or two platforms that you recommend to be like the go-to? Just start there and see if you get any traction.
Generally, it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube is our big three right now. Most of our clients don't have the capacity they don't pay me enough to do the 3 posts a day that you need to do TikTok or be satirical in any way. So I'm still struggling to sell them on dancing on camera. I actually just started work with a maid service here and I'm like, hey, we need to do this idea. I want to get this person dancing on camera to cleaning because that's immediately the stereotype when people think of it like a janitor is someone with a CD player and mopping and dancing on camera. Yeah. We're going to riff off of that. But our big three are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube right now. But we're doing a lot more with LinkedIn as well. It just takes a little bit longer. People don't think that their target customers are on LinkedIn, which is wild to me.
I think it depends. Depending on your industry too.
Like but there's still people who are going to move to your area. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But there's still going to be LinkedIn is a place that employers will allow professionals to be on during the day. And so you are able to target anyone during the business day. But also the bombs are on LinkedIn who will buy those jeans. And the people moving to your area who want to use their service are on LinkedIn too.
True.
And with the targeting ability of LinkedIn on the professional side of things, that's why it's more expensive. But our big three are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, because YouTube's owned by Google, we just think it's a generally good place to be to nurture anything Google related so you have the best SEO. And there's the whole side to do like long form content or short form, so it's got a pretty big breadth to it. But that's generally the big three that we focus on. Right. So typically my flow is it's go through the ideation and through ChatGPT, and then I'll edit it a little bit on my own, and then I'll even put it through Quillbot too. There's a little AI humanizer function, and you can even paraphrase. You can even phrase things to be more easily digested.
Phrayz.
So that's why we call it paraphrase. Phrayz is because in marketing and sales, we consider it an art form, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to marketing strategies. There are a lot of strategies and content that really does work out there. And so you can just not take everything that someone's doing, but you can paraphrase it. Yeah. So
it's
that's
formula.
Where the name comes from.
It's a formulaic type of thing. And that is very true. A lot of people and a lot of startups try to waste the time trying to reinvent the wheel. And there is no reason to do that. And you're not even trying to do that. You're like, here's one thing and we're going to do it very well. And we're going to take this stuff that exists and we're going to serve it to you in a way that is the most useful, not overwhelmingly less useful. It's the most useful. So yeah, I think that's a really important
That's how you market. That's how you market properly, and that's how you sell properly.
Yeah,
like we all know that.
Agreed.
I don't. It's great that ChatGPT can do everything for everyone, but in terms of marketing,
but can it
sales,
really? Can it do anything for anyone? That's what I ask. We'll be censored in one moment. Like everything.
Yeah, but they have business cases and then personal cases, and I think with me building and this being my first real main software endeavor, I just want to build a really specific tool that does things really well, but also like saving professionals time. And so we do want to combine the flow and the
Some
different
marketability in that.
softwares into one to make a really great tool.
Yeah, I think you're onto something here, because the concept of marketing is very simple. And especially for like small businesses, you could tell them how simple it is and how effective it's going to be. And it's going to sound great. But then when they get into the actual, okay, so where do I start? It seems like you guys are making that a lot easier for them and bundling everything that they might need or question together in a way that's going to be a lot more intuitive for them to actually come out with something to market at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jack, through your experiences with A Million Cups and your marketing agency and now Phrayz, through your different journey with each one of those, what would you say are your top 3 pieces of advice? And I know you touched on it a little earlier with Christy, but what would you say are your top 3 pieces of advice to any new small business or entrepreneur to aim for success?
I'm going to reiterate, paraphrase the things that other people have said, because it's really impactful. But never be the smartest person in the room. And so just put yourself in rooms where you could literally be the minority, or you're in a room with other or more experienced CEOs or founders. Just constantly search for rooms where you can learn and develop. Going off of that a little bit is reverse networking. And so that's, instead of just trying to like talk to everyone, focus on one person. And for me, like Christy, she'd be a great user for my software. But I'm also like, she has marketing friends too. And so I can go and ask her, hey, who else do you know that could benefit from my software?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're in a startup mode, and I feel like you're really want to help startup founders grow. So who else do you know that would really benefit from a software? So reverse networking and asking one person for many more connections, because you want those warm connections too. And then a third, I just think failing faster so you can learn from it and keep going. I think people wait for a need or something to build something, or like a perfect time to do something. And really that probably won't happen within the time frame that you think is going to happen. And so I just think you just got to spend the money and do it. And if it fails, but at least you're doing it fast and you can recover from that and spend maybe $5,000 instead of $50,000. So fail fast.
Awesome. All right. Well, if anybody wants to learn more about you, Jack, or Phrayz, the software, where's the best place for them to find you?
We're at Phrayz.com. So it's super simple. I looked for empty domains before I looked for trademark searches. That's what I did first. I'm all over LinkedIn. I'm a self-proclaimed North Carolina business influencer. So I'm all over LinkedIn. But
so is Christy.
Socially marketing.
I am not. Shut up.
She just does it under the name David Baxter. But
yeah, heard. Yeah, everyone's, wow, David's so cool. Like, no, it's not.
But yeah, Phrayz.com and then LinkedIn, Jack Fleming. That would be the best place.
Cool. We'll make sure we put those links in the show notes. And so for any of you small businesses or entrepreneurs that need marketing and maybe a little intimidated by it, but feel like you're going to give it a shot, I suggest talk to Jack and talk to Phrayz. All right. For everybody else, we're out and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
That wraps up this episode of the BizDev Podcast. Thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at hello@thebigpixel.net or connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. BizDev is a production of Big Pixel, a US-based provider of UX, design, strategy, and custom software. This podcast is edited by Matt McCracken, yes, that is his name, and me, Christy Pronto, marketing guru for Big Pixel.